Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the New Agenda. My name is Candace New, and I'm your host, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to my show tonight. Today, we've got a couple of really incredible people coming out to join us, as always. It's been kind of an interesting week. Hope you guys have had a great, lovely adventure out there in TV land. This past week, I had the incredible opportunity to have a booth at the IATSE Film and Television Expo, which was an incredible experience. I got to meet so many of you guys. Lots of you came out to my booth and shook my hand and said hello and introduced yourselves, and that was such an incredible opportunity for me and experience for me. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for coming out to see me. It was a really special moment, so thank you for that. I also had the opportunity to talk to you guys about some really cool internships that we have happening right here at Studio 519 through the New Mexico Education Channel and Katharsis Media. So we have acting internships and production internships that are beginning September 20th. So if you're interested at all in being a part of that, they give you on-set experience working with professional actors and professional crew on IMDb credited projects that will actually be broadcast on television. So it's a really awesome opportunity for you to gain some experience and some training in the film industry. If you want to find out more, send us an email, newagenda@katharsismedia.org, or log on to our website at katharsismedia.org. Today, I've got a couple of awesome people coming out to chat with you. So without further ado, let's bring out the lovely, the incredibly talented Monique Candelaria. Hello, darling. I'm so excited to have you on my show.
Hell yeah.
So I know, right? I'm not even going to talk about it, girl.
I love you guys.
Oh my gosh. I am super excited to see you again. I know we had a great time the last couple of freaking A, we've hung out a little bit recently, just because we've had so many film events. Are you guys out there in TV land going to all these New Mexico film events? We're having a great time. God, it's been a little bit crazy.
It was a High Desert Film Festival that I was one of the judges for. So seeing everybody that's actually being active here in New Mexico, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera, was really beautiful for me to see. And then obviously, I saw you yesterday over at the IATSE Film and Media Expo.
There was another thing that you were judging something for, right?
Well, that one I wasn't. So it was Simone Brielle that was actually helping to hand out the awards for the Minefield Film Festival.
Right. And that was what I hadn't heard about. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
So Minefield Film Festival is run by Aaron Alexander. It has been going on for I don't actually know when he had first put it together, but it was kind of a fluke. I didn't realize that a project that I had done a sizzle reel for so that they could get funding and get everything all set up. They did a documentary that actually was in Minefield Film Festival. So all of a sudden I got the email of, "You're going to be there, right? The documentary is playing this day."
Wow.
So it was a surprise for me, and that was beautiful.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, so we've been spending lots of time together because we've been running into each other at all these events.
Yes.
And we've had a couple of moments, too, where we got to just kind of hang out, which was great. I did lose my ID, which is great. So if you happen to find it out there, world,
you just got to go to Happy Accidents. You should have called them.
I know. You know what? Oh, God. We were supposed to talk about that. Yes. That's right. So we did talk about that we were going to do a little, my Instagram story cut out. So, but we went to Happy Accidents a couple weeks ago, and Happy Accidents is, I don't want to say it's new, but it's newish. And
it's new to me. I feel like I barely got to really discover it recently.
Yeah.
And then you actually helped divulge some of the details of more, just how it came together and what they represent, which was really beautiful.
Right. So Happy Accidents is my understanding is a lesbian-owned bar restaurant. It's super cute. We walked in and they've done a whole renovation. So I went there for the first time in 2021, early 2021. Yeah. And then we went there, and this is the first time we'd been back since then. And they had done an entire renovation of the inside. It's super cute.
It's adorable.
They have these cool body sculptures on one of the walls. And it's just
one of the walls you can take selfies with, which has kind of this animal-esque man where you're just like, hey.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was super, super cute, brand new as far as the renovations go. The seats were this cool, carpeted, velvety sort of material, which I loved. They were super plush and comfortable, unlike this pillow, wow. and they the food, that was the thing. Like, they have the most unique things on their menu. I don't remember what I ordered.
We
split something.
Yes, we split.
We couldn't decide. There were two things we couldn't decide. Yeah, steak frites. Yeah,
and then the brisket. Was it brisket? Rib.
It was like a pulled pork sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I think it was a rib something because I wasn't sure
You're
if
right.
it was going to be.
It was a
bones in
rib.
there.
That's right. And then we cut it.
Yeah.
So we couldn't decide what to get. So we ordered 2 plates and then cut them down the middle and shared. And it was so good.
Delicious, guys. Honestly, so far everything I've tried there is so good.
And the drinks were great. So I say 5 out of 5. Absolutely love it. The
Try
ambiance
living
was
on a
great.
pear.
And what is that? Ooh.
The drink, it comes
Oh,
with
that's
this
the drink that you had,
beautiful
yeah.
little bubble on top, and then when it pops, all this smoke comes out. It's so beautiful and tasty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But we had a great time. So I would say definitely go check it out. It was also great because we kind of hung out longer than like normal people, because I think we had like super long week and we're just kind of like decompressing from all the things, because it's been like work forever, going on work and no time to decompress anything. So we were there for like a super long time. And it was great because nobody made us feel unwelcome or like it was time to move along or anything like that. And they just kind of kept coming out and they would check on us, refill our water, and nobody was rushing us out, even though it was kind of a busy night. So I was really impressed with the hospitality and the ambiance. The food was great. The drinks were great. It was really quite lovely. So the only thing I would say is my ID is missing. I did get a new one though.
Look, my legs don't look like they belong to me for whatever reason. It looks like, there we go. Shade. Oh, that belongs to my body. There we go.
That's amazing. You're not supposed to look at yourself in the monitor.
I couldn't help it. I was like, wait a minute. Find my light. The light is like making my legs look like they're glowing.
In one of the pictures that you sent me, and you guys will see these pictures of us on Amazon, not Amazon. On Instagram. Same idea, different thing.
I love it. Maybe you're manifesting stuff to pop up.
Maybe. But on Instagram, and there are these beautiful ladies in this picture with me, and so it's myself, and it's Simone, and it's Deidre Michelle, and then it's Solana. I don't know your last name, Solana, but I love you. Gorgeous, beautiful girls. And it was really funny because I was looking at the picture today, and I posted it, and then I was looking at it, and I couldn't decide because there was a hand like around my shoulder here that I was like, that has to be Monique's, because it wouldn't make sense for Deidre's arm to be like 2 people over. But then there was also a hand here that had a turquoise ring on it, like at your side. And it was, I stared at it forever, and I had to like zoom in and then realize Deidre is wearing a turquoise ring as well. And so it was interesting. But
that was a great photo though. I mean, everyone in that photo was just so powerful, and I was like, I love this photo.
Yes.
So
well, and that's one of the things I kind of commented on, and then I threw up a little clip of Sydney McCrossan, who's the New Mexico, or the City of Albuquerque film liaison, and she was giving a speech at the expo as we were opening, and it was just like such a great, so between the picture and like us all kind of like hanging out, we also hung out with Tina Presley, who's a SAG-AFTRA agent, but she wasn't in the picture, but it was so cool to just see how many women are working in powerful positions in film in New Mexico. And for me as a female, like, it just makes me feel excited and feel like, I feel like there are definitely some, things we need to change. Absolutely. Sure. There's always more progress, but I feel very, I feel good about it right now. I think it's a good environment.
In a good direction. I feel like a lot of women are taking opportunities to express themselves in ways that maybe previously weren't always as well received.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned this reel. I know, obviously, like, y'all out in TV land, if you don't know who she is, like, then I don't even know why I'm bothering telling you. But no, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, oh.
But I realized that, like, we're just chatting. I know that you sent me a reel, and then maybe after that we can talk a little bit about your journey and what you've been up to. So let's.
Yes. Yeah, all right, just so you guys know, it's geared towards horror. It's actually because of AFME, which is coming up next month. So September 16th, I'll be part of a horror panel. So enjoy.
Yeah, we're going to cut to that reel right now. Or in a minute, when they come back to it.
Do you want to check Is my chi-chis falling out?
Did you guys pause? Are we still rolling?
We're still going.
Oh, excellent. So I emailed it this morning to Studio 519. So they're going to check that, and we will come back to that reel here in a little bit.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So basically, I guess I can start talking about it in general.
Yeah.
That way they have a premise of where
Right.
things are coming from. So luckily, actually, where I became SAG eligible was on Bless Me Ultima.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was a prostitute on there, but they at least gave me my name. So I have Monique as Monique. I don't know if that's a compliment or saying much. But it was a great experience, and I actually just did an event where a lot of Latinos are starting to acknowledge that there are these films that are out there, and we're starting to get together and saying, hey, look, we exist, and we're all around you, and we are your friends and your sisters, your brothers, and more. So let's start also showing those cultural things in everything, and it doesn't have to always be focused on one thing. It doesn't all have to be Latinos. We vary, obviously, in look and how we express ourselves depending on our influences. So here we have a lot of native influences, so obviously it's going to be mixed, as well as Spaniard influences. So I always love when all of the festivals come, because I'm like, oh wait, I'm going to this one. Oh, I'm going to this. Okay, sorry, that was a sidetrack. So anyways, that was how I kind of started out. However, where I actually became union was a film called Banshee Chapter. Okay. It's one of the first films that was actually shot 360, so that you could watch it with the Oculus. So when you're in it, you'd be able to turn around.
Okay. And this is this a scary movie?
It is a scary movie.
Oh no, I don't want to watch it.
It is
though,
but it is. But it was originally designed for that,
okay.
And it's based off of a H.P. Lovecraft short story.
Okay.
Okay. So that was kind of like what set the tone. So I remember for that audition, it was pretty intense. I went in, Angelique was basically telling me, all right, you can use whatever space you want. Go ahead and imagine that this thing is coming at you to attack you. Respond however you like. I'm not necessarily telling you what to do or not to do. So I really did, I remember tracking that there was something that was coming, and eventually it came, in which I responded to it. Yeah. But I'm pretty gifted when it comes to screaming. So I let loose. And
you like a banshee?
Oh, it was intense. I can
You want to demonstrate?
I'm all no, got it. Sorry.
That was great. That was great.
So basically, I had let loose in there. I remember walking out, and everybody just looked up, what the living hell just happened?
You know what? The fact that there weren't more people walking out of the room after having that kind of, some sort of reaction that way. With some sort of reaction that way, then it's interesting.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. So I ended up doing that. I actually tore a piece of my eye.
Actually?
Yeah, so they had put blood beneath my eyes, and the blood got on my contact, because I wore contacts at the time. Worked the entire night, went to take off my contacts in the morning, forgot that there's sugar inside of blood. So whenever I went to pull the contact out, it all of a sudden I saw a piece of my eye come up with my finger.
Oh my God.
So I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm 22 years old.
Oh my God, I can't. I don't like blood. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, go see an eye doctor. They got a Q-tip, basically touched it to my eye, and a whole flap of my eye just went over. So I wasn't allowed to wear contacts for 2 months. I had to be on set that night and still perform, and I was taking direction from somebody on the other side of this two-way glass. I can't see. I mean, without my contacts, I was not seeing, right? So it was such an interesting experience, a memory I'll never forget, but it also set the tone for the things that I also enjoy. And it's it's just
like your eyeball getting ripped out.
Even that, I'm like, oh, wow, there's something that came
gross. Oh, that's gross. Okay.
So yes, that was set the tone. The first lead role I ever had was the control group, in which I actually was sent to Fergus Falls, Minnesota. I got to work with Brad Dourif, which is the voice of Chucky, if you guys do not know.
All these things. Did I tell you I don't want to say I'm not a fan of
you're gonna have
movies.
to block your eyes.
It's just that I get scared very easily, and I have nightmares. So we should. They have the reel. Let's go ahead and play that now, and then we'll come back, because I'm already having a little trepidation going on, which I don't know why I'm gonna torture myself by watching this. But here we go. So let's go ahead and cut to that.
Kima Marakote. Woman, man, two spirit. Well, I saw Titus for what it was. I refused to decipher another word. He promised to reunite me with my people. And he kept that promise. Sorry.
Okay, so like, yeah, that
Oh,
last
you know
scene
you
with like
loved
the
it. You
slit-
loved it,
I-
right?
You know,
Yeah,
I just don't, I don't like
I love that I'm
jumping
making
out.
her-
Boom!
Ah! Son of a-
Bitch! Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's stupid. That was dumb.
I legitimately almost. Okay, so glad that this hot tea did not
Sorry.
burn up.
I'm
Did
so
not burn.
sorry.
No, that was awesome.
I just spilled.
Did you actually
tea
spill
everywhere.
yourself?
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh,
Oh,
my
she's good.
God. Right? What the hell, Brianna?
Okay, I'm gonna put this
Okay,
down so that way I
so-
don't go.
Okay, so anyway, I don't like jump scares and blood. The end. Okay, so yeah, it's.
So that wasn't quite the real maybe that I should have brought to this, but that is what's leading up to.
I mean, I'm trying to grow as a person. You know,
Okay.
it's one of my personal goals. It's important. Yeah.
I will say that so I told you that my first lead was in Fergus Falls, Minnesota.
Right.
I worked with Brad Dura, voice of Chucky, and then the most current thing that I did, which is what played right at the end of the reel, which was on Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
So that one challenged me in every way possible. So what they were asking for was really intense. Just to give kind of a snippet. So one, they're looking for Native American. I'm a Mescaleto Apache descendant. They were looking for someone who identifies as Two-Spirit. I do identify as Two-Spirit. I realize that right now I am very feminine, but it's more of an energy thing.
Right.
So depending on whether I need to actually handle situations tactically or linearly or directly versus being more intuitive and receptive of those around me, obviously it will change the demeanor. Because they're working with the visual format, they chose to do that visually. So if you were actually watching it on HBO Max, they actually made me a prosthetic. So they got a cast of my lower body, and they made me a prosthetic with genitalia of both genders on each side.
Oh, okay.
So it was intense. I kind of just wanted to have that moment where I could do the windmill because it just looks fun. But they did not make it big enough to do that. I was very sad. I was like, oh, I finally have one and I can't do nothing with it. So they're obviously looking for that. And then they asked me, how are you in water? And my brain goes to, I'm a desert girl, and my swimming pool was a trash bag with a hose inside of it,
yeah.
and we made our own little swimming pool. So I told them, look, I won't drown, but I wouldn't say that I'm a fish.
Yeah.
And they were like, perfect answer once you get back from Michigan, because I was actually working on a film in Michigan called Driftless. So I'm number 1 on the cast list for that. So that's on Prime or Tubi, whichever one you guys want to watch it on. That one's not scary. That one, I'm a park ranger. Yes. And so I got back to New Mexico, and they were just like, oh, we set you all up. Well, then it got canceled. So I was like, no, I've never taken swim classes in my life. Like, I can't just go out there. They're like, we'll evaluate you in Atlanta, and it'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
So no. I started doing Wim Hof breathing techniques in order to get myself into reptilian brain, because I didn't want to panic having to be in water for any length of time. And then I was taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes with Mike Kirby, and I had asked him if he knew anybody that could teach me. And he told me that he could.
Yeah.
So 2 days, 2 hours each day, basically had me crawling on the bottom of the pool, being able to stay under as long as I could, and making sure that whenever I was there, that it would be good. So I got there, and I passed with flying colors on the first round.
Woo!
So I was like, woo!
Yes!
So, but I did do my prep work. But these were all the things that they were asking for. Oh, not to mention being able to speak lines for over 3 minutes in an Arawak tribal language that was written out, translated phonetically, and then they gave me a dialect coach to make sure that I was honoring the language as best as
Right.
possible for something that's not currently spoken.
Right.
So if you guys go to my Instagram, so they'll end up putting up the link tree, and that'll have all of my stuff. But on my Instagram, there is slides where it actually shows me speaking in that language, and even my first audition that I sent in when I landed the part. So for that, I thought it was more mythical. So you'll see that I incorporated more like snake-like tendencies and vocally incorporated that in my voice.
That's awesome. So you've had an incredible journey. I'm so excited to have you here on the show. I actually have somebody else that we're going to bring on here in just a moment who I feel like I heard that maybe y'all knew each other. I don't know. So I'm going to bring him out. He's a phenomenal human, and I'm super excited to have him come out. His name is John Christian Love. Come on out. Hello, darlings. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for driving down.
Forever. So
I know.
I instituted what is it called? A reunion. Talking is hard
Yes,
today.
do you want me to
guys
move
can put
these?
those pillows
Yeah, no,
right
you're
underneath
good.
here. Sorry.
Well, you don't want to get close to me?
Wow.
There's stink or what? Not today. I showered.
I also showered.
Shouted.
I think I should quit talking today. I definitely am
Shouted.
having some stuttering problems today.
No.
Sometimes I stutter, actually. That's real.
That's okay. That's human.
And it's not that I
We're
didn't want
not-
to be close to you. They just told me I needed to be over here. So it's
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Blame it all on them.
okay.
It's all their fault.
Who's this
It's
on
the
this
camera-
end? Is
the
this
camera
like the people
department,
in the walls? The keys. I'm watching Lock and Key right now.
Oh, okay. I like those.
I don't know how I feel about it. It was like a suggestion, and me and a friend were watching it, and like it's kind of creepy, just enough to where like when I'm home alone, I'm like the keys, like what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Some creepy girl's gonna like pop out,
Mhm.
and yeah.
So how do you feel when they insert it into the back of the neck?
How do you know I got that far?
Wow.
I did though. I did.
See, y'all telling me
no,
something.
I was like,
don't
no,
even know what's
I
going on.
definitely
Now
thought
I
he
can't
was gonna
watch the
die
show.
or become like possessed by that evil girl. And that's actually the
Don't
last
spoil it,
episode I
please.
watched. Don't
spoil it
Just,
for me.
don't-
she just doesn't
oh.
like queasy stuff, so I was like, can you picture
I haven't seen it. I'm saying don't give
Oh,
me
okay, okay,
spoilers
okay.
because I want to eventually watch
It's
it.
like one piece of one episode, and that's it so far. So,
Okay.
and it's real early on in the season. So, like I just started. Yeah,
We're not
it's
spoiling
like episode
anything.
3 or something.
Okay.
So, yeah. But John Christian Love, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I just want to say, I love these pants.
Oh,
Where did you
thank
get these pants?
Thank you. I
first
can't
of all?
reveal my secrets.
Wow! Wow. Okay, I see you. I see you. But you look great. You look
I
great.
like to thrift, so I
Me
go places
too.
and I'm
Me
like, oh,
too. I got this thing, okay, so confession. This is actually a romper. So it's a full bodysuit and it's all black. But like the pants like have like pleats in them,
Mhm.
and the pleats kind of like fell out when I had it washed, and so like I know I could iron it. Don't give me that look, okay? But like I was worried about the material because it's like weird material, right? So I was like, I don't know if I can iron this. But so I decided to just slip these other pants on top. So I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants right now, friends.
That's,
In the middle of summer.
You cannot tell.
I know,
You
I
cannot
know.
tell, though.
It's cute though, right?
See, had you not have told us, we would have never known.
But I got this romper, okay, on ThreadUp. Do you know what ThreadUp is?
no, only
Oh, okay. It doesn't really help you out. I mean, it might help you out, but they don't. They have just women's gendered sort of clothing. But it's like this online thrift store that has all kinds of really awesome designer clothes and not designer clothes. Like it's freaking awesome.
so it's like Fashion Nova.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what? Okay, never mind. Never
I guess I'm
mind.
gonna go look that up though. Yeah. So, but anyways, about this.
I shop in the moment, okay?
That's right.
I'll go in somewhere and I don't care what kind of store it is. If it looks good on me, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have
Well-
to help myself look good in clothes sometimes. Like today, I had to like help out my non-boobies, so I just put some fakies in there. It's fine.
When I used to be a mailman, 90% of the deliveries were Fashion Nova.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. So what you're saying is we're behind the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yep.
that's fine.
Okay.
You know, what I understood by that was everybody sharps there, so I shouldn't because clearly I don't want to be like everybody else. Good times.
Right.
That's my opinion.
That's
Secret.
what's up.
That's right. That's right. All right, so anyways, besides being a mailman, tell me a little bit about yourself. Since you won't tell me where you got your pants, which is rude. Go ahead, though.
Fine. Route 21.
Oh, okay.
I
See why
like
didn't
Route
say that?
21 though.
Like, I went in there and I was like, oh,
So
I like
you
them
go-
pants. I'm
No, that's
getting those
awesome.
pants, whatever.
My thought was,
Shoot,
Okay,
most of my pants come from the flea market.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna lie. I always look for the tag that says it's from Brazil because I know that they always like have higher waist, so they make sure that I don't got any love handles going on.
nice.
I wish you could.
All
I
right.
could say that I have big booty, but I do not got that. So. But it's okay. It makes my booty look good, so I don't need a big booty.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, so for me, I guess it started in Houston, Texas, right after I graduated in 2009. I started going to the Art Institute of Houston with one of my best friends for film. He decided that he wasn't going back to school and he was going to go audition to be a football player on Friday Night Lights. So that same day, I dropped out of the Art Institute of Houston and decided I was going to go and audition to be on the football team for Friday Night Lights.
Do you play football?
I played football in elementary, middle school.
So that really helped you when you were, graduated. in
No, because
college age.
most of the time it was
I
the
was being
football.
sarcastic.
Okay.
Continue your story. I'm sorry.
So long story short, become a football player, end up magically having a line on one of the episodes, and that's how I became SAG eligible.
Nice.
Decided to move to New Mexico to pursue film. So I was at Santa Fe University of Art and Design, and then after realizing that I don't want to pay $40,000, $50,000 a year, I dropped out, focused on my acting career, and that landed. My first job here was In Plain Sight, the detective show, Marshall show. From there, what was the night shift? Did you work on the night shift?
Twice actually. So the first one didn't actually make it in. I was actually in season 1, episode 1, and then I got cast again because my part didn't get in.
Right.
So season 3, episode 1. Yes.
And what
So-
were you doing on the night shift?
Well, the night shift is an interesting story. I worked the pilot episode when it was called After Hours, and I was excited because it was like the first big thing, and it was like, if it gets picked up, you're gonna be, on the show like every episode. And I was named after the producers, like one of his best friends, Nurse Tom Costain. So I was a nurse, and this is why the importance of non-disclosures, and when they're like, don't say anything. I heard that the show didn't get picked up, and I tweeted about it, and then it went around, and then I got a call from the producers saying, actually, the show's looking like it's going to get picked up.
Oh, no.
We need you to remove the tweet. And I ended up getting cut out.
Oh.
But redemption happens later on in life. I cried like a baby many nights. I was like,
Yeah.
So after that, did Outlaw Prophet, Warren Jeffs, and then a couple of other projects, and then that led ultimately to Better Call Saul, which was probably the pinnacle of my career so far.
So tell us about your role in Better Call Saul.
I happen to be this guy right here, this nerdy guy right here. Ernesto is the character, and he's basically, the caretaker to Saul Goodman's brother, Chuck, who is an asshole. And yeah, that's Ernie. He takes care of Chuck. Best friends, or good friends with Jimmy, who obviously screws over all of his friends.
Right.
If
If you haven't seen it, we bad. Sorry about it.
Sorry if I dropped any kind of spoilers
It's
out
been
there,
like
y'all.
a while,
I'm
so
sorry.
maybe,
I apologize. And but no, Ernie, I think is like me. He started in the mailroom. I used to work, not too long ago, for the United States Postal Service delivering mail, which I found ironic. It's just crazy how life paths happen.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm working in the mailroom on this show, and then I'm actually working in a mailroom.
Right.
In real life. So I think that was the experience. And then, so I don't like the politics to things because after season 2, I had to move to LA to get all of the things that they should have just given us here, like guest star billing, things like that. It was like I had to move all the way to LA just for them to take me serious,
Wow. Okay.
you know? And
So what do you mean by that? Can you kind of like, so if you were here, you wouldn't get the same sort of billing.
I wouldn't
But
have got
because
it.
you moved to LA, then you were able to negotiate for that, even though it's a show that's based on.
Right.
That is so weird.
In fact, the project that we worked on, which was Independence Day Resurgence, we learned that there's a little thing in there where basically a production only really has to credit 50 people. And after
Like-
that, yeah, you can have as many lines, you could be in the whole thing, you could be the lead, and if they chose not to have you as one of the 50 names, that's just unfortunate.
Wow.
So I didn't know that, but there was 12 of us that were cast here, and those of us who only had residence here in New Mexico did not get credit. So I was curious about it. I saw that we obviously had timestamps. We definitely were in it.
Right.
Our lines were there. Some of us were there 3 days, others were there for weeks, and there was one individual that was actually there for over a month. And I had called our union, and basically they said, well, they didn't do anything wrong because there's this rule that's there.
Right.
So you got paid, right? You'll still collect residuals, so you got paid. And I was like,
Yeah,
But I mean, your IMDb is like your resume, and it's
right, but
so
it's a
interesting.
third-party site, so
Right.
that's unfortunate. You would think that being that there's only one union for actors, the Screen Actors Guild with AFTRA, SAG-AFTRA,
Right.
that they would have their own where it's kind of a credible
Yeah.
resume based off of our actual contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
So even though I contacted IMDb, there's just no way to work around it. So if you actually look up mine, it shows it's uncredited, so I never got credit for it. So I mean, I would be able to be like, there's my contract though, and I was there. In fact, working with Jeff Goldblum was amazing. So the whole time he was there, he was just like, hey, what's your name? I'm going to say your name in this. And then we had like this great conversation about whether mass destruction would be the best way in order for the world to regain itself. And yeah, it was actually really intense.
Yeah.
But I love that experience. But
Yeah.
what we're talking about was that.
The
So
politics,
the
whatever.
politics
Yeah.
of it. So here it'll be co-star. If you were out there, they probably would have given like guest star if it's a TV series.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we'll see
Can
the
you
same
explain the
auditions.
difference?
Sure. Co-star is considered like a day player. You're really only there for, if you're lucky, 1 to 3 days.
Right.
Guest star is kind of like where there's a portion of the episode that's geared towards your character. So even for Lovecraft Country, my character is pretty much in there the last 20 minutes, and that's considered a guest star.
Right.
So somewhere in there, it was kind of geared around the
Right.
character.
Right, where it actually it impacts the plot
Correct.
of the story, as opposed to like the person who's handing out
Transitional
coffee or
character.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how an acting coach described it to me once. She was like, co-stars, they're the furniture. They're just moving, the show along. Whereas guest star, they actually are embedded in the storyline.
Right. And not to diminish at all the
Yeah,
role.
no.
Just to understand the difference. is
But-
that- yeah.
Also, like for Breaking Bad, that was a co-star that I had. I was only there 1 day, but I opened and closed the 5th season of Breaking Bad with
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston for that flash forward scene. And it's great. Like, I know that I was there, and I like to think that my character had so much to do with all the stuff that he got for the ending. Since he paid me $100 for a free meal, but, we'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
But the politics, it's so this is my thing, and what I would love to see happen here in New Mexico, because when you look at markets like Atlanta or Louisiana, they're already doing it, and it's like what I was told was that, agents or whoever, they might be afraid to fight, for that guest star, it's like, oh, this character is here and they coming back, they're recurring again or something. And it's like, can we get guest star billing? And I was like, no, I don't want to, piss off casting. I don't want to, so on and so forth. But, how my manager in LA he was like, that's my job. I don't care if I piss them off. You just go do your job, be good at it, and let me piss them off, and so on and so forth. And then it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Right.
And so I think New Mexico has a big enough market to where we can now offer local actors guest star, roles and bigger, huge
Right.
support in films, which is, honestly why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm more Adam Sandler now. And when I say that,
You mean you're funny?
no.
Okay.
When I say I'm like, I just want to make movies with my friends. I don't care about the politics, the Hollywood stuff. I just want to make movies with my friends and just enjoy what I'm doing. Because when you lose the love for it, which I lost it, when I was living in LA at the point where everything came crashing down, I was living in my car for like 3 months.
Wow,
With a Planet Fitness membership, showering at Planet Fitness or whatever. And I was like, man, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? It's like the love isn't there anymore. And so I realized my best days was when I was like, I'm just making movies with my friends, and we just want to really do something good and tell a story and put a message out there.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, one of the big things that we've been talking a lot about around here, around the studio, is goals and goal setting, because we're all kind of in that kind of transition and trying to figure out who we are and trying to decide how are we going to get to where we want to be, and sometimes it does mean like shifting, and sometimes we shift and then we circle back, right? I know that you've also found some other passions and things as well, and I'm excited to hear about some of those.
Yeah.
But we're doing a new thing on the New Agenda. Hey, New Agenda. We have a new agenda item, and it's called the Intentional Moment, and we're going to do it every single week. I realize that we talk a lot about building your dreams and chasing your dreams here on the show. We're not always as great about making sure you guys walk away with something that helps you be more intentional and how to get there. So I've started doing this intentional moment thing. Today's going to be the first time, so let me know how you like it or whatever, and we're going to cut to that right now, and then we'll come back, and maybe we can talk a little about your guys' goals. Yes.
All right.
Woo, woo.
Woo!
And for today's intentional moment, we're talking all about goal setting. So goal setting is an incredibly important step when we want to accomplish something big. The best way to begin with goal setting, I always think, is starting off with a big goal that's going to take some time to complete, maybe something that's going to take an entire year to complete or 6 months to complete. So something a little bit more long-term, right? And then taking that down and breaking it down into smaller steps. So one great way to do that is creating a timeline like we had to do for the New Mexico Education Channel. So what we did was we took some of the big goals that they had for us, and we cut that down into monthly and then weekly and then daily goals. One of the big goals that we had was to produce 40 hours of weekly new content every single week. That's a ton, right? So that's what we're walking into this year. And so what we've done is we've kind of pared that back, and we thought about it. How can we break that up? Broke it down into 5 hours of growth every single week. And that allowed us to have a month of planning in the month of July. And then we started off with 5 hours a week in August. Moving into September, we'll have 10 hours. In October, we'll have 15 hours. November, we'll have 20 hours. And then we kind of wanted to make sure we were being super realistic as well. And so understanding that during the holidays, probably some production's going to taper off. And so we actually held at 20 hours for the months of November, December, and January, picked it back up in February, 25 hours, then 30, and then 35 hours, and then 40 hours to meet our goal by the end of our fiscal year. So realize that it's also okay as you're building out your timeline that you should take into account the seasons and what might be happening. Maybe it's a busier time of the year for you. So really looking at all of the sort of, seasonal and holiday and maybe just sort of cultural or customary things to your household and keeping that in mind. For example, like in August, it's the beginning of the school year. I've got 4 kids, so things get a little bit crazy. So I'm not going to overwhelm myself too much at the beginning of August. But as it gets around to the end, we can start being a little bit more productive and expect a little bit more growth. So that's one way that you can be intentional this week. I would love to hear about the big goals that you're setting and how you're being intentional in time mapping as far as setting some timelines down. So if you want to send me an email at newagenda@catharsismedia.org or send me a DM on our Instagram at newagenda. thanks so much for tuning in. See you next week. So, goal setting. We're
Goal
super
setting.
excited about goal setting.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about goals you guys have and how you are maybe being intentional about pursuing them. There's a way that I go about it. Obviously, it's not the way that everybody goes about it. And yeah, so.
I'll let you go first since I took it the first time the last time.
Okay. For me, goals, it's hard because I have ADHD. And so, and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do like I be reading all these books like 7 Habits for Highly, Successful, Effective People, whatever the book's called, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, which is like taking a goal and whatever that goal is, whether it's a monetary goal, say it's $10,000, 10X that goal, make it $100,000. So instead of striving for 10, you're going for 100. So even if you don't get to 100, you reach your original benchmark.
Right.
So I try to set
Thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to set goals beyond what I'm trying to accomplish. So that way I'm like, okay, this is where I'm trying to go. But as far as, I'll write it down and then it'll go out the window.
Yeah.
Because I'll focus on something else and be like, I'm going to focus on this now. ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like the biggest, like for instance, when I was writing my poetry book, which has probably been
Poetry book.
Hi.
yeah, it's called Poetry Off the Spectrum, because ADHD obviously I guess isn't on the spectrum, but it deals with just various topic: grief, depression, abandonment, career, all that,
All the
stuff.
kind of things I feel so in my soul
Yeah.
about all the
Yeah.
dark and twisty things.
And so with that, it was just kind of like, I have all these poems from like over 12 years, and it was like trying to figure out, okay, I got all these poems. How can I put them in a book?
Mm-hmm.
How can I make it make sense so it's not just scattered and it's everywhere? And so it was just like setting, okay, this is the date I want to release the book, and then kind of just working backwards from there.
Backwards planning, yeah.
Which I find is helpful because we've all planned movies and shoots and stuff before, and it's like, okay, guys, we in pre-production or we in development from this time to this time.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just day to day for me,
Yeah.
It's a day to day. I try to wake up and I'm like, okay, I got to work on this, but I also got to work on this, in addition to a million other things.
Right. Yeah. But I agree. I think that backwards planning is super, super important. That's kind of what I was talking about in the video. But yeah, how about you?
Goals. All right.
Goals.
Wow, she about to
I'm
tell us
ADHD as well, but I do have hyper focus, which means that once I'm focused on something, nobody else exists. It's like the house could be burning down and I wouldn't know it. But
Unless they're like Monique.
yeah, I'm like,
Monique.
yeah, we're gonna be on fire. It's bad. That does get really frustrating for me. I can literally be doing something and then next moment. Anyways, we're not
Phone
gonna.
rings.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's
call.
horrible. But I do have to write it down in the sense that, like, for instance, even working out or physically, like making sure that you're ready for the next thing, right?
Right.
Because it's like getting ready for the day. If you just allow yourself to be in pajamas all day and just chill, you're gonna find all the ways to just relax, and you're not gonna actually like start getting things done.
Right.
So for me, I do have to get myself ready. But also being like, okay, well, I want to be on these things, my typecast. So while you guys see me again, dressed up in a dress today, my typecast is basically all militant. So whether it's a police officer, anything that's gender neutral. I've been owner of a tow truck company, so there's just a masculine air that's there, which allows me to also be physically fit more than other areas. So for me, instead of being like, I need to weigh this much, it has nothing to do with the scale. The scale is not my friend.
Right.
I am always very dense. I weigh a lot. So for me, it's all about body fat percentage. So like figuring out what's a healthy body fat percentage, figuring out where I'm at, and then working towards getting it to there with the body fat percentage. And then I just measure everything to be like, yes, I'm on point. This is where. But for acting purposes, I feel like it is all about mindset, and it's the realization that desperate comes in many forms. If you're going out there saying, please just pick me. I'm so ready. Like I'm all these things and I'm talented and I got all this stuff and here, wow, let me put it in your face.
Right.
It's scary. That's, anybody's just like, oh my God, that's overwhelming and I can't focus. But if you take the initiative to say, who am I? What do I want to be in? Even if it's something small, who are my friends? Who wants to actually get together and start putting stuff together? And everybody wants to jump on a bandwagon, okay? So it's like, to me, that's the mindset is the first thing of like understanding that when you start taking the initiative to put things together, people will come and you'll find a forward momentum to get to the places that you want to go.
There's your next show, the bandwagon.
The bandwagon. So for me, I have a couple of scripts that I want to finish writing. I do want to get them obviously produced and shot here. Obviously, I have tons of people that I want to be able to work with in front and behind the camera. And I've been sitting on it for a while, and I do feel that now is the time, now that we're transitioning and all coming back and getting like our feet planted and just starting to change the perspective of things too. And I know you do not like horror, but everything I write is like supernatural horror.
I can deal with it. I just need a minute at nighttime when
I'm gonna give you some like CBD,
here's
and then
how it
you're
works.
just
No, I will just tell you. I can't be left alone at night.
Okay. So it means I have to be there with you.
That's right.
Okay, there
That's
we
right.
go.
We
Got
could
that.
like
Popcorn.
On the same
yeah.
That's right. We get popcorn and watch more scary things.
Yeah.
Kettle corn.
That's fine until the sun comes up.
Yeah.
No
And
kettle
then I just
corn.
need a whole day to
I love kettle corn too.
I do
I'll
love
have
kettle
both.
corn. Yes.
Thank you.
But I need a whole day of sunlight before I can be left alone. That's all.
Deal.
That's fine.
Deal. So yeah, that's what I was saying about goal setting though, but to me it's all mindset. And so I do take active time to write down my dreams. Everything I write is usually based off of my dreams. So finding those inspirations, whether it's in people or whether it's in my subconscious, where I'm like, where did you come from?
Right?
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Yeah. I
Must
could
write
write some pretty amazing horror stories, I think, just because I've had lots of really bad nightmares and things.
Sure. Yeah, no, they can be absolutely
One
terrifying.
day I'll tell y'all about my cult experience, but that's for another time.
Ooh, cult
Ooh,
experience.
yes.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so, some of what you're saying is about like being intentional about being prepared for whatever comes next and not necessarily like John Christian was talking about like having that goal and then backward planning, and you're almost kind of doing not necessarily the opposite, but rather because you're still like saying there's a goal, but you're not necessarily defining it, but rather you're saying this is who I need to be, or this is who I want to be when an opportunity arises, right?
Correct.
And so you're not necessarily defining the opportunity, but you're defining the kind of what you want to put on in that moment. And so it's like that preparation. One of the things that I was talking about with my lovely, very good friend, Deidre Michelle, is last night actually, we were talking about that idea that like, sometimes people think that other people fall into something, right? They kind of get lucky. But the reality is that more likely than not, those people that have fallen into an opportunity have also prepared themselves and have trained themselves and disciplined themselves along the way so that when something comes up that they can fall into, they're prepared and able to rise up under it. Because the reality is that if you don't have the preparation and the training, then when that opportunity comes, it's more like a landfill that you fall into and can't get out of, as opposed to something where you fall into it and it elevates you, right?
Well, it's kind of like Lovecraft Country. I knew what challenges were coming, and I made sure to take the initiative to actually get myself some swimming lessons and actually start practicing breathing techniques. That way I wouldn't panic, because you are dealing with adrenaline, you're dealing with being in costume, remembering everything that you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely.
And I think those are all great ways of approaching things. For me, like I'm a little bit ADHD as well, like where I've got so many things that I want to do, and so I first of all, like always try to be very mindful of the moment. People say that maybe I'm a little bit obsessed with like I do time tracking, task listing, and time blocking. So not in that order actually, but we're literally
That's like borderline OCD.
Well,
that's like I don't know if I would get everything done. I would be really like obsessive.
Well, and part of it is like, it helps me to make more time.
Sure.
And that's one thing that people have told me is, Candace, you are the busiest person that I've ever met. You do so many things. How do you do it all? And I'm like, every single moment matters. And sometimes that means that I'm being super intentional about like spending time with my family or making time to go out and like, you know what? It's been a busy freaking 2 weeks. We're about to go into 2 more weeks. I need to decompress. Let's have an hour and a half at Happy Accidents and just eat food and just be normal people for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
So those are important things as well. But we're going to talk more and more about goal setting. So definitely come check it out. John Christian, would you mind giving us, I know you just wrote a poetry book. We didn't get to hear too much about it, but would you mind maybe closing us out with a poem today?
Sure.
I would be super excited to hear
I think
about
I got
that.
one before that. Notion. I'll tell you about Notion. It's really good for planning and just everything.
I love that.
So this poem is called A World Still Divided. They say we need a little communication in this world to get the things we want, but if you have infantile education, you can't make it in a world still divided by segregation. So we as a people defy the laws of the Emancipation Proclamation. So the once free man is sought after, placed on a cement block and bought for a monetary gain in exchange for some free labor. And I want you to savor that thought because it was the Negro who fought for many freedoms in America. See, America was built off the back of blacks, and they took credit for being the ones who was clever to building this nation. And I'm not bitching, I'm simply making an observation, seeing the wrongdoing and providing my own explanation. So hopefully I have the knowledge of persuasion to solve this fucked up equation. That is, give to the rich so they can be richer. Take from the poor so they can be poor. Remove the canes from the elderly so that they could move slower. And if a Mexican is illegal, put them in your lawn and make them a mower. See, they want to teach the world how to be a world full of workers instead of a world full of thinkers. So after you get that high-ass degree, that house on the hill, that fancy car, the debt still lingers behind. And I don't want you to think that I'm bashing one individual kind because I'm not. But how many times have you heard that a black man got shot on the block by the cops? In this instance, I'll name two, Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, because those wounds don't heal. And we all felt the shock when they got shot that we started holding Black Lives Matter rallies in hopes that it would stop. And this is supposed to be the land of the brave and the home of the free. But why is it every corner I turn in the hood, I see my people living in poverty, on their hands and knees, sowing the same seeds that our ancestors sowed? We got to change the script, or we're going to forever be sold and told what to do. And that proof, I leave with you. So what do? When they're out killing us, yet we kill each other too. Think about it.
That was incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't think there's much else we have to say tonight, guys. That's about all the time we have. It's time for a new agenda.
A new agenda.
A new agenda.